without naming names, we know there are other thermal imaging companies out there. So what is it that makes Yoran Imaging unique to the industry?
Regarding the know-how, I think you will not find many companies today out there that come with this long experience, as I mentioned, of 25 years, with a really deep understanding of the fabrication sides of the core of the technology. But this is something, this is something I fully believe upon, but other thermal imaging-based companies can say they have also their needed experience. But I would say what differs Yoran Imaging is that we differ ourselves that we are not gatekeepers. Our competitors, what they are focusing on is being at the line, and at the end of the line saying, is that product good or bad, 1 or 0? That's their final approach. They are the gatekeepers. We say that's not good enough. You have to do much more than that. You have to control the process. You have to avoid the problems. You have to predict the failures. You have to find the root cause of the failures. You have to generate data so you can go IoT, so you can go to the cloud, so you can go become autonomous production lines. You have to have data so you can compare different laminates from different sustainable suppliers. Data is the big thing here. So we are a data-oriented company, and since we fully understand the technology, we know how to generate very valuable data, not just a decision, good or bad. And that's what differs us. And I can tell you that also we are granted a patent in the US about this approach of generating the data.
So why is thermal imaging important for food and beverage manufacturing?
The primary package is part of the product. If the primary package is not sealed well enough, of course, there will be spillage. There will be, it's not convenient to move around the product when it is not sealed well in the package. But much more than that, it's a risk to the health of the customer, the final customer. The many people do not know, but in many packages, they put in a gas, intrinsic gas, inert gas that can keep the freshness of the food. If it's not sealed, the gas gets out. The package makes sure there is no contamination in the product. It's not just food and beverage. It can be pharmaceuticals. It can be medical products that go to surgeries. It can be eye contact lenses that come in fluid. It can be, the whole world has to be, once it can be wet wipes. When you close something, it has to be sterile when it gets to the final customer. And that process, the sealing itself is done by heat. And the only way to visualize this process is by thermal imaging. Any other way will be to go around. There are ways to go around. For example, there are products, they are really usually very big. They are very expensive. They try to look at vacuum decay or all kinds of approaches to look at the sealing. We say that's not good enough. Let's say you put a vacuum decay chamber, which is very expensive, that goes inline, which is very expensive and even slow down the process. And it tells you have a problem. Where is the problem? How to solve the problem? Why wait till you have a problem? Let's prevent the problem. All that you cannot get out of a system that tests your sealing integrity only. You have to understand your process. So what can be better than to see your process? When you see something, you understand it. Only thermal imaging can see a process that has heat induced in it.
So, excuse me. So talking about throughput, how is it are you able to keep up with, a rapid succession of packages being produced at a time?
That is a very, I would say, critical question, because today the trend is to pack everything into smaller and smaller packages And if you know, if today they put every toothpaste in a package, toothpick in a package. So everything goes into smaller and smaller packages, and the production rate increases, and that's a major issue. So if today we're working at 60 products per minute, 100 products per minute, it will go towards 400 products per minute and even 600 products per minute. So you have to change your approach toward that direction. And here again, it's our advantage. Our competitors, as I said, they are gatekeepers. A gatekeeper cannot cope with such a high speed, high production rate. It cannot cope by the time it makes a decision for each product. There are smearing effects, there are huge effects. When you analyze the process, you have much more time. You don't have to look at each one. You can look at 80% of the products, 90% of the products to generate data. You can move your cameras around to avoid smearing effects. You can do so many things when you are focused on data about the process. And that's what enables us to look towards these high production rates. I can tell you that next month we will start working with Tetra Pak with Nestle on the milk cartons. They are running at 400 products per minute, and we are targeting that. And again, that's because we are not the gatekeepers. We are generating data about the process.
There's a lot involving food safety. How does Yoran Imaging's product service address food safety?
So one of, I would say, the major issues of food safety, there are two components that we approach regarding food safety. Regarding moisture content, when there are too much moisture in the product, it will harm the safety of the food. That's one thing. And the other thing is when it's not well packed, and then again, it can be contaminated. So when they write down a date, a final date to use a product, it's assumed that it is well sealed. If it will not be well sealed, the date, of course, does not meet the time span of the product. The package is part of the product. It's a critical part of the product. So I would say these are two major influences for us on the safety. There's another major influence I assume you also discuss is the waste. So we approach these two important categories: the safety, making sure the product is well sealed and well dried, and to make sure you do not generate waste by generating unsealed products that then you have to throw away all the packages, and enabling you to introduce new sustainable materials. These, I would say, the two big things that our technology enables.
Is there anything else that we haven't talked about yet that you think any manufacturer ought to know about thermal imaging?
I would say that it has to be clear. The thermal imaging is the technology that enables you to reveal the process. That's only one part. But once you have seen the process by the thermal imaging, because it's a heat-based process, the big thing later on is now to take this information and do something out of it. And here Yoran imaging comes into the picture. We know how to take this data, how to apply alerts on time when you have a trend, how to build very friendly analytical tools like statistical process control diagrams, dashboards. We know how to apply AI on top of that, on the big data, so we can prevent failures. We can increase your mean time between failures. So these important layers on the data, because these are unique data. This is not a standard data. So you have to generate the data by the thermal imaging, but then you have to know what to do with all this data. And the speciality of Yoran imaging is to generate good and reliable data. That's one thing, and that comes in our 25 years of experience in thermal imaging. And then what to do with all this data to improve the process.
Eran, thank you so much. Really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about your process and your system and your company. Thank you.
Derek, thank you so much for giving us this stage. I appreciate it. I have no doubt that this is the future. It won't be air bubbles in water. That will not be the future. And I have no doubt that thermal imaging is the right technology, the straightforward technology, AI, big data. That's the future. And we hope to lead it.